Alright, Shalom Aleichem Rabotai, Bruchim Habayim. Welcome to our Wednesday class on Yalkut Yosef. We are on the topic of bread, Netilat Yadayim, Tzimur Si, Yalkut Yosef, whole category under Berachot Shonot. And the last topic ended with not talking until you swallow from the food, lekatchila. That's what we said. When you say Hamotzi lechem min haaretz, put a piece in your mouth and swallow it. But b'diavad, if you already spoke and you didn't swallow, but it was in your mouth, which happens sometimes, you give out the bread and you're saying a word, it's okay. Since your jaw or your mouth enjoyed it, it's still considered an enjoyment, and the bracha is not in vain, and you do not have to repeat it. Welcome, Yigal. That's where we ended last time. Another halacha from the Yalkut Yosef, Hamegadel kelev bebeto. Someone that has a dog in his house. Simon, this is relevant for you, right? All right. So halacha is you have to feed your dog before you feed yourself. I'm sure you know this. Then take care of the animals. This is a nice Jewish halacha that we got. Now, if someone lifted the piece of bread but said, you know what, I think this bread is made out of potatoes, or I don't know, he thought for some reason it's adama, or she'akol, or mezonot. Any one of those berachot, even though lekatchila it's not the right bracha for bread, but they're all okay. Why? Anybody know why is adama, she'akol, mezonot, why is all of that okay?
Because the wheat comes from the ground.
Very good. So that covers adama, meaning we're saying adama. At the end of the day, it is adama. It came from the ground. What about she'akol? Why is she'akol good?
I call it for everything.
Exactly. Very good. You're on a roll. So what about the last one? Mezonot. So
I'll let someone else answer.
no, but mezonot means like a food, like a bread. So at the end of the day, by the way, a lot of items, there's a machloket if you say mezonot on them or if you say hamotzi on them. So b'diavad, anything that you said mezonot on, at the end of the day, it's okay. So is my screen jumping or is it just me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. Let's hope that it's going to get better and stuff.
We hear you fine though. You're not.
Yeah, I don't know. Okay. Kids were here right before. You never know what happened in the room. Okay, let's say that. So, yeah. So, but b'diavad, that's fine. And also on a cake. If by mistake you said on a cake, hamotzi lechem min haaretz, at the end of the day, a cake has some say torat lechem on it. It has a shape of a bread. And therefore, b'diavad, if you said hamotzi on a bread, I would say.
So you don't repeat the other bracha, but
You
you
don't need to.
say, instead of say Birkat Hamazon, you just say the other
No,
bracha.
you still say Birkat Hamazon. I'm just saying the first bracha that you said, even though it's a mistake lekatchila, but it's not enough of a mistake to not be yotzei yedei chova. It's sufficient for you to eat from the item. You said both.
No, but if you say Hamotzi on a cake,
on a
you don't
cake.
say Birkat Hamazon. Yeah,
No,
you don't say Birkat Hamazon.
you're right.
Oh,
Just like if you said adama on the bread, you'll still say
yeah,
Hamazon.
you just say.
Okay. What about if someone doesn't know the halacha and he took grapes and he squeezed them and says grapes is etz? So he said bore pri ha'etz on the wine. Yatzai dechova or needs to say the bracha again? What do you say?
He has to say the bracha again because
John,
Geffen is higher. It's higher level.
you are right that a geffen is a higher level, but we're talking about b'diavad. Lekatchila, he needs to say geffen. But b'diavad, if he said bore pri ha'etz, yatzai dechova, because at the end of the day, it came from a tree, the tree of geffen.
Rega, but if he drinks directly wine and he says העץ,
יצא ידי חובה.
באמת?
Yeah.
Wow.
You
I
shouldn't
thought
do
if
it.
the bracha is a higher level, you have to say it again. If it's a lower level, it covers it.
Look, we just said that if you say shehakol on bread, you're yotzeh, but hamotzi is also a higher level than shehakol. But if it's included within it, it's enough to be motzi otcha yedei chova. It doesn't mean that it's the right thing to do, but if you already did it, we're not going to make you say a bracha. We have to understand that for someone to repeat a bracha, Sfaradim hold that a bracha levatala is a deoraita. It's a going over a sin from the Torah to say Hashem's name in vain. So if we're going to force you to say a bracha again when there's a safek, no. Safek that you covered it, safek berachot lakel. And therefore that's the halacha. לכתחילה you should say it, but if not, בורא פרי העץ would cover גפן. I don't know how it could happen, but say it would. Interesting halacha. Another thing that's important, when we hand out the bread, when we do the המוציא, don't ever hand it to somebody's hand. You put it on the table or on a plate and they take it. But not from hand to hand. Why? שלא נדע, because that's the way of avelim. Avel, the way you hand in the bread, it's from hand to hand. So we don't want to look like an avel, but also do not throw the bread. As we said last time, the bread, you have to honor it, even though a lot of Mashali customs are throwing the bread. In a lot of homes, we see it, but sadly, it's not exactly the right custom. It would maybe right for them, but now that we have more clear halachot, we understand that it's not the right thing to do. We should respect the bread, treat it with honor, but do not throw it. Also, do not give them hand to hand. Place it, and people will pass it down and put it on a plate. What type of slice are you supposed to give to the people on the Shabbat table? So not too big, but not too small. For example, if someone honors me and I'm a guest, to do the Hamotzi. If I'm going to take a very big piece, they're going to say, look at this guy. He's a guest here. What is he doing? He's taking so much bread. If I'm going to take too small and also give other people small, to say he's a cheap man. Let people have a kazait, a kabetza bread over here. So it has to be a right amount. My wife makes breakaway challah. Each one gets like a little bun. It's perfect. I recommend it. All right. Now we get the Siman Kuf Samechet 168 Al Ezo Pat Mevalchim. On what bread do we say Hamotzi? All right. So what happens if I know that I'm going to eat a small amount? We've spoken about this before. For example, like a mini bun, a bite that's even less than 1 ounce. It's less than a kazait. Do I say Hamotzi? Do I say Birkat HaMazon? Do I say Netila? Anybody know the halacha? What do you guys remember? Less than a kazait bread. Okay, so let's make a...
You're supposed to wash, but no Birkat HaMazon.
Wow, you say you're supposed to wash, but no Birkat HaMazon. Okay. So this is the halacha. Let's take it step by step. Giacomo, you wanted to say something also? Or no? Okay. So this is the Buchim Habayim, by the way, Ilan and Giacomo. So if you ate more than a kabetza, which that's the top, that's the level, very easy. You do netila with a beracha, you say hamotzi, and you say birkat hamazon. If you eat more than a kazait, but less than a kabetza, meaning between 1 to 2 ounces, then you do netila, you do not say the beracha, but you say birkat hamazon. But if you ate even less than a kazait, you don't even have to wash. Hamotzi, you're always going to say, no matter how much bread you're eating, if it's a crumb or a big piece, it's always going to be hamotzi lechem naaretz. So that's the easiest part to remember. We always say hamotzi. The only question is, do we wash, and if so, with the bracha, and do we say birkat hamazon? When do we say birkat hamazon? When we ate an ounce or more. Once you had an ounce or more, it's sufficient for birkat hamazon. Regarding when we wash our hands or not, if we have 1 ounce, we have to wash. If we have 2 ounces, we have to wash with a beracha. Right. I hope that's clear. Expect that to appear on the test.
And what about less than a kazait?
Sorry, Andy, and then Chol.
If we're eating bread as like a snack, like I'm not eating a meal, I come home, it's not dinner time yet, I'm starving, and there's some leftover challah from 2 days ago. I grab a little pick of it. I have to wash.
Wait, how much? What's a little? Less than an ounce or more than an ounce?
Is this clear? This is like this is nun taftun. It's not chal, it's nun taftun, but look how it fits in my 3 fingers, let's say. Like,
I would say that's less than an ounce.
That's less than an ounce.
Yeah. And since it's less than an ounce, you don't even have to wash. You'll just say hamotzi, and you will not say birkat hamazon.
You will not say birkat hamazon.
Nothing.
Okay. All right.
You want to be sure, if you want to learn some chalas are more condensed, it's not. Really, it goes by volume. Rabbi Chaim is very meticulous about this. And even though a lot of books say it goes by weight, really it should go by volume. But a lot of the times, it's hard to estimate according to volume. People say a size of a matchbox is in 1 ounce. It's hard to see with the eye. A lot of the times we rely on the weight system, like with the matzot and Pesach, but if you rely on volume, it's also okay. He does write Yalkut Yosef that if you can do the netilah without a beracha, even better. but you're not obligated. Meaning you want an easy life, it's fully okay if you take less than 1 ounce. Just say המוציא and eat it, no netilah, no ברכת המוציא. Sorry, you guys wanted to ask something?
No, that was my question. If it's less than an ounce.
Okay, fantastic. So, what about pizza? What is the bracha on pizza? The famous question. I was once in Rav Ben Chaim's shul when someone asked him about pizza.
Depends who you ask.
Yeah, depends who you ask, exactly, because it's a big controversy around the pizza. So let's learn today. What is the controversy? Why would there be a side to say mezonot? Why would there be a side to say hamotzi lechem min haaretz? So he calls pizza an item that, even though it's like a piece of bread, right? It just has cheese on top. That's how we see it. I always say hamotzi on pizza. But some poskim hold, no, if you have one slice of pizza, which is not, everybody agrees that once you have 2 slices of pizza, it's already, even if it were being mezonot, since you're eating 2 slices, it's already a seudah. It's a seudah, it's 2 slices, it weighs about 7-8 ounces, that's sufficient to do hamotzi and birkat hamazon. So even if you eat, let's say, a dry cake, but you're eating 8 ounces of a dry cake, you would wash your hands, you would say hamotzi, and you would say birkat hamazon, right? But pizza, what's the question here? Is it considered like an item that's like a filled cookie, like a borekas, that's like a combination of bread and cheese, where I don't really have to say hamotzi in it, it's mezonot? Or no, at the end of the day, it's bread. Most Sfaradi poskim say it depends on the dough that the pizza is made from. I'm sorry, my camera is jumping so much. If you take from the dough and taste it, and it tastes like bread and not like a cookie, not like something sweet, you don't taste butter or oil or sugar, it tastes like bread, then it would be hamotzi lechem min haaretz.
Uh-oh.
Are you with me, gentlemen?
Yes.
I do not know what's going on. My camera is betraying me right now. Cannot start video. Failed camera. Please select another video. I do not have another video. You're all like that, buddy. Come on, make it happen.
We can still hear you if that helps.
Oh,
There you go.
okay. Sometimes you gotta fight with it. Where were we? So pizza. So you understand the halacha? I'm gonna tell you what the halacha is according to the poskim that I follow. Pizza is hamotzi because you taste the dough and it tastes like bread. But if someone would make pizza that the dough is made from orange juice or the dough is made from milk, it's not enough that it's made from orange juice or milk. It has to taste different. If you taste it and already you say, this doesn't taste like bread. This has a twist to it. Bread tastes like a dry challah on Shabbat. Tastes like bread. By the way, some chalot of the Sfaradim, our ladies like to make it sweet. They put so much sugar and oil until some of the chalot, they're mezonot. Like egg challah for Sfaradim, egg challah sometimes is mezonot, depending if you feel like it's bread or it tastes like a different item. So one time, someone asked Rabbi Chaim, Rabbi, what bracha do we say on a slice of pizza? So the rabbi said, on 2 slices of pizza, you say hamotzi and birkat hamazon. So he said, yeah, Rabbi, but what if I only ate 1 slice? So what did the rabbi answer?
Eat 2.
Another slice. Meaning he wanted to avoid the safek and go like that. But the dry halacha, for example, I always bring this example, the Yalkut Yosef, the author of the book that we're learning, the chief rabbi of Israel, former chief rabbi, now his brother is the chief rabbi, Rabbi Yalkut Yosef says that if you go on the plane and you order the glak kosher meal, you get a bun in a bag and it says on the bun, borei minei mezonot, which is the right baracha for Ashkenazim. Because for Ashkenazim, it doesn't matter what it tastes like. If it's made from grape juice, from orange juice, from milk, in the plane it's not milk, but it's made from juice instead of water, together with the dough, then it gets a din of mezonot. That's their halacha. Sfaradi halacha is not like that. For us, it has to taste differently. The Sefer Yalkut Yosef, you are allowed to take off a piece and taste. For tasting, we don't need to say a beracha. You're allowed to put it in your mouth, even swallow it without a beracha, just to understand what it is. And if it tastes like normal dough, you should say hamotzi, even though it says mezonot on it. And he says that the bread on the plane, in his opinion, tastes like bread. And therefore, we say hamotzi on it. They try to make it mezonot so you don't have to wash on the plane. It's uncomfortable. There's not really a room to wash. But for Sfaradim, either avoid it or get up and wash in the bathroom and rely on Chacham Ben Sion that you're allowed to do the netilah in the bathroom like you spoke about many times. All right.
Question, Ziv.
Hello.
If I say mezonot on a piece of cake, Okay, in my head, I just want to have one piece, but then I'm more hungry. I start eating more and more and more. Then becomes המוציא technically. So what do? I do birkat hamazon in the end.
Very good question. I'm also going to take your question to bread. Let's say Andy here said, I'm eating less than a kazait bread. If he's eating less than a kazait bread, he does not have to say, he just says, המוציא לחם מן הארץ, right? He doesn't have to wash his hands. He's eating 20 grams. Let's say you need 27 grams to do netilah. So he's eating, and after 27 grams is, wow, even though my wife's challah from 2 days ago should be dry, this is delicious. I want another 20 grams, but I'm still not having another kazait, only 20 grams more. He will be able to eat it again, and again he won't have to wash. And even if he does this many times in a row, why? Because it goes according to your thought at the moment that you're eating it. I thought I'm having this, and therefore in the case of the bread, you won't be obligated to say המוציא at any point, because when you started, you thought to yourself, no, I'm eating a small amount. Now you're eating more cake. Okay. If at the end you got a shiur that is requiring birkat hamazon, then you will say birkat hamazon. But it has to be at a certain amount of time, meaning like in a time of a seudah. I don't know exactly the time, it's a good question. But if it's spread on many hours, no. But if in a short amount of time you have it like in a meal, then you would also be saying birkat hamazon on it as well.
So the bracha before, you don't change it, you just change the bracha achrona.
No. Unless after eating that small amount, now you said, you know what, I'm having a full cake that's already 8 ounces on its own. Now I already obligated myself, right? But without that, then it's, even though with mezonot, since mezonot kind of covers המוציא, I wonder if you'll have to say המוציא. But at least for the netilat yadayim aspect, you're not obligated to do that if you don't have from at any point the full amount, because you always thought you're going in steps. You ended up eating enough for birkat hamazon, so say the birkat hamazon. All right. What is the halacha regarding matzah? Leil seder, everybody agrees matzah is המוציא לחם מן הארץ. But throughout the year, do we eat matzah? What's the bracha on the matzah?
מזונות.
So most people would say it's mezonot because it's like a cracker. What makes a cracker mezonot? They're both made from flour. Why is this mezonot and this hamotzi? So there is a machloket in the Gemara. What is considered a mezonot item? The halacha calls it pat haba bekisnin, a bread that comes in a kisnin. Now kisnin has many translations, and because of that, there's a machloket. What type of bread is the bread that gets the bracha of mezonot? One interpretation of kisnin is kis, a pocket, which means the bread is a pocket and it's filled with something. Anything that is filled with something would be mezonot. That's one opinion. Another opinion says, no. Pat haba bekisnin means that the bread is sweet. The Rambam holds like that. If the bread is sweet, has a different flavor, then it would be borei minei mezonot. Another opinion says, no, kisnin comes from crumbs. It means crumbs, meaning if the bread is crummy, it's crispy. You bite on it and it breaks like a cracker, like a matzah. Challah is not like that. Matzah, crumbs, right? If it's like that, then that's mezonot. So we have 3 different opinions. So how do you know what we follow? So we're always lenient. Whenever it's one of those 3, either it's filled, or either it's sweet, or either crumbs, we say borei minei mezonot on it. Now there is a case that doesn't fit this category. Is if you take, let's say, a bread like a sambusa, like a pita, and you close the pita and put cheese inside, or even a pizza, even though it's not filled, but it is like a pocket that's holding the cheese on top. But that's actual bread over there. Since it's actual bread, then we would say hamotzi on that, says the Yalkut Yosef. But if it's a cookie, if it's a cracker, if it's a matzah, really it should be borei minei mezonot. Having said that, better, says the Yalkut Yosef, try to have the matzah in a meal. Meaning if you already said hamotzi on a different item, let's say if you're having some of Andy's challah, and you already said hamotzi on it, now have from the matzah. Why? Because there's a doubt. From Leil seder we said hamotzi, and now we're saying mezonot. You're not obligated to do that. But if you have the ability to do that, it's better to avoid the doubt. But generally, since it has crumbs, it's like a cracker, and for the Sefaradim, it would be borei minei mezonot. By the way, the Ashkenazim say hamotzi all year long on matzah. They don't change the halacha from Pesach, but as far as minhag is to say mezonot, and better to have it in a meal to avoid the doubt. Now, what happens if I take a piece of challah that's left from Shabbat, and I want to make French toast from it. I want to fry the bread. What is going to be the din? Is that bread used to be a motzi, but now the bread obviously got a new flavor of the eggs and the cinnamon and the sugar and the milk. Does it still stay hamotzi, or did it turn into mezonot? So over here, it depends. On what does it depend? On the size of the pieces that you are frying. If you are frying pieces that are small, like Andy just showed us, less than a kazait, pieces like that, then even then, since you're changing their flavor and you're frying them and they're going to be with oil and this and that, it turns into boreh min mezonot. It's a sweet item. But if you're going to take a big slice of challah that is more than an ounce, even though you're frying it, and even though you're adding milk and eggs, since it's already a big piece, it's called Torat Lechem. The name of bread remains on it, and it would be Hamotzi Lechem in Haaretz. So if you would want to, let's say, exempt yourself from doing Hamotzi, and you're about to fry French toast, it's better to take smaller pieces, and that would be Mezonot. Or if you want to gain the bracha of Hamotzi, so that you could do Netilah and Hamotzi, and the 4 Birkot of Birkat HaMazon, and put 6 brachot in your pocket, then keep it as a big slice, and say Hamotzi.
Wait, but if in my head I want to fry small pieces, but I want to fry like 20 of them, I need 20 of them.
It goes by each piece. It goes
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
If you fry a big piece, and now you're cutting it with a knife and fork and eating, no. But the item that's put on your plate, how big is that? It goes according to that. Because
no, I want to fry 20 pieces. I know I'm going to eat 20 pieces, small pieces. I still say mezonot?
Okay, if you're going to have 20 pieces, then already you're reaching an amount of over 8 ounces.
Of hamotzi.
That's already hamotzi, right?
Oh, okay.
That's a different.
That's my question.
No,
so it's not by the pieces; it's by the quantity. Then.
No, but listen, eating 8 ounces of bread is a lot. Like you don't get to that so easily. It's like 8 slices of bread. I don't think most people reach that.
French toast, the smallest French toast, the bread.
You have 2, 3, 4 slices. It's not enough to say Birkat HaMazon if it's mezonot. So if
but I know that I'm gonna have like 5 of them.
Still, listen, you have to see if those 5 reach, the measurement is like 216 grams, about 8 ounces. If you think that at the end there's 8 ounces in there, then you could say Hamotzi and Birkat HaMazon.
Oh, I thought it was 3 ounces.
No, not 3 ounces. 3 ounces is the measurement of liquid.
One.
Say, a la geffen, for wine, for example. If you have 3 ounces in a row, or if you have water, 3 ounces in a row, you say Borene for sure. But to get Hamotzi, it's 8 ounces, which is a lot. It's a lot of amount, so most times you don't get to that amount. Unless that's your actual need. All right, good. We go through this one.
Steve, we have about 5 minutes left. I don't know if.
Oh, thank you.
Time.
Okay, then I'll do 1 or 2 halachot and I'll just say a few shavuot. Regarding the person that does decide that my mezonot is going to be my meal. For example, a lot of people this year on Leil HaSeder, Friday night happened Leil HaSeder, and we didn't want to have to, bring pitot into our home or bread because we're scared of the crumbs. And the wife said, I'm cleaning the house for 2 months. Shabbat's tight with Pesach. How are you going to bring bread into the house? I only like to eat matzah. So on Friday night, some people said, you know what? I'm going to have matzah. I'm going to have 8 ounces of matzah, and I'm going to do hamotzi and Birkat HaMazon on the matzah. They were allowed to do it. Friday night, you were allowed to do it. According to the Sfaradim, the only time you're not allowed to have matzah on Pesach is on the day of Pesach, meaning on Shabbat morning. When Shabbat night is Leil HaSeder, that's when you weren't allowed to have matzah. But Friday night, we were allowed to. And I'm saying this because some Masharis have a custom to not eat bread from a month before even. You hear different customs. But the halacha of the Sephardim is like this. Only on the day of Pesach, you're not allowed to have. So Friday night, theoretically, if you would have enough matzot, and you would say, I'm going to say hamotzi on this, because Shabbat, you have to say hamotzi. So I take, let's say, 4 slices of matzah, whatever it is. I'm going to chow this down right now. You would have to wash your hands, but you do not say bracha al netilat yadayim. When you make this game of turning mezonot into a meal and saying hamotzi and Birkat HaMazon, you will wash your hands, but you will not say al netilat yadayim. Right? 1 more, and then we'll get to Shavuot. What's the definition of pataba bekisnin? So this is what I just mentioned to you. Okay, we actually went through this halakha. So remember, there are 3 opinions on what is mezonot. Either it's sweet, either it's filled, or either it's crummy. And at the end of the day, any one of those today we say mezonot to avoid the dots. Let's mark this and talk to you a little bit about Chag HaShavuot. So Chag HaShavuot, there's a lot of preparation for this Chag. How much preparation? So most people would say, well, we're preparing 50 days because the Torah that you start counting for 50 days until you get to Shavuot. How much preparation is there for Pesach? Halacha says 30 days before Pesach, you start learning the halachot of Pesach. Okay, but our wives sometimes start preparing for Pesach even more than 30 days before, which means from Pesach until Shavuot, it's a huge amount of time. And any preparation that you do for Pesach, really, the finish line is Shavuot. We're leaving Egypt not just to be free. We left Egypt to receive the Torah. So it's at least 80 days, if not more, are all preparing us for this night. We have no other holiday like this. Even Elul, Rosh Hashanah, you prepare for a month. Over here, you have almost 80 days that you're preparing for this Chag. What's so powerful about this Chag? You should know that we're judged in this Chag as well. A lot of the times we think that what happens in Rosh Hashanah is we're judged, and it's true. We're judged for our parnasah, we're judged for our health, we're judged for life, we're judged for very important things. But what would we judged for on Shavuot? We judge for our neshama, for the Torah that we are going to have this year. So this is an opportunity to do something big. I hope you all are able to stay up all night. If you can, it's part of a great tikkun. The Ari HaKadosh brings it. It's brought in the Zohar HaKadosh. That by staying up all night, it's easier than Hoshana Rabbah. Hoshana Rabbah, the minyan is only like at 7 o'clock in the morning. Over here, by 4:30, people start praying Shacharit already. You could be finished by 6:37 and finish your night. But try to stay up all night because there's a promise from the Ari HaKadosh that whoever will not blink his eye, will not fall asleep once this night, he is promised that no harm will come to him for the whole year. This is a promise from the great Kabbalist Ari HaKadosh. Once someone said, Rabbi, how could it be? We see so many people die, they stayed up all night. He said, no, I believe the Ari HaKadosh. If something happened to them, then they blinked one time. It can't be. The Ari promises it happens. So there's a lot more to say, but this is the strongest thing I want to leave you with. If you're able to stay up all night on this night, it's a big deal. Am Yisrael, we're sleeping. When we receive the Torah, we have to fix it by staying up and learning the Torah that Hashem is giving to us. Hopefully Hashem will judge us in favor to have a great year of Torah and our shiur and all the shiurim that we go to. Be'ezrat Hashem. Yalla, gentlemen. All the best. Have a Chag Sameach.
Chag Baruch. Thank you. Chag Sameach.
Thanks, Sameach.
Sameach.